Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Lorelei Shamayo, and this is MeWe Fairs for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest and many online, and we interview our practitioners and vendors so you get a chance to know who we are before you meet us at an event. I'm excited today to be here with Heather Hawk. Heather, it's lovely to be with you.
Thank you, Lorelei. Thanks for taking the time to talk with me today.
Oh, you are so welcome. So, what do you do? What do you share at our events?
Channeled readings and also energy medicine. Most people are coming to me for channeled readings, but I would say about half of everyone who I'm working with, I am guided during the channeling to also work with their energy. So I ask permission. Everyone says yes so far, but I ask for permission to. Generally, I'm using then Reiki when I'm doing the energy medicine during the channeling. Some people are really interested also in EFT. Tapping is what it's also called. And so that's an option at the fair. But again, for the most part, people are coming for the channeled readings. I'm happy to do any of those modalities: channeled readings, Reiki, or EFT.
And how did you get started doing this? I'm particularly wondering about how you got started with the channeling. Share about anything. How did this start for you?
Well, I had an experience as a child. And at the time that it happened, I didn't have any doubts about it or any fear. I also didn't tell anyone. Um, as a child, I had a lot of trauma, early childhood trauma and abuse. And I was doing the thing that I did every evening, which was talking to the tree outside my window, which was a very close friend to me. And I was around 11 one night when the tree spoke back. And again, I didn't have any doubt about what had happened. It was as clear as the conversation we're having. I had never heard of channeling. Of course, I didn't use that word at all. I didn't categorize it as anything. Um, and then my next memory of really having these types of experiences was my in my early 20s. And that was a big surge of experiences, which also involved channeling. And again, I kept it really to myself, and it was for me. I think some part of me didn't want to even talk about it because it had some power. Felt sacred. It felt sacred, and I wanted to hold on to that for a long time. So I ended up having these experiences, including then later with my ancestors. My ancestors came to me, and that was one of the most important experiences of my life because I see that as the portal which really opened me up to, well, gosh, everything and everything that I do. And all of that was running alongside of me doing a lot of my own healing work, physical healing, but also, therapy and all of that. And it took some time to start using the spiritual tools for my own healing. So that was part of my journey of, oh, I can, so what I have access to, these gifts can be used for my own healing. And so that was part of my own journey. 9 years ago, I started my LLC. And, prior to that, I did my formal training. I trained with, for example, I became a Reiki master, and it was a very rigorous traditional training so that I had to go through all the steps of training, but I also did an internship. I volunteering. There were quite a few steps because the teacher is also traditional in her teaching, which I'm so grateful. It was the best training I could have received. And so I went from there, adding EFT certification, medical intuition certification, craniosacral therapy certification, and incorporated that into my practice. Over the years, I've really honed it to being much more the energy work, Reiki mostly, but also EFT, and then the channeling has just continued to evolve. So
So it sounds like you primarily do energy work maybe and the channeling as it shows up, or it pretty much shows up for everybody.
the channeling shows up.
Yeah.
Really, it that's how I started doing it professionally. Was I was doing the Reiki sessions right from the very beginning. I got all of these downloads, and I receive information in many different ways. It could be seeing someone's past life. It could be seeing what's going on within someone's body, working with guides. It comes in messages, really just all different, sometimes smell even or taste. So the sensory information is it's varied. Even if I'm working with the same person, let's say once a week, the
Mhm.
same person, what comes through is going to be so unique to what that person has allowed me, really, because they have total control, what they have allowed me to participate in, and whatever their need is in that moment, that's what comes forth. So the channeling, again, I wasn't really using in the early days of my practice, 9 years ago, I wasn't using that word channeling. In fact, it was another practitioner who really challenged me, and she said, "Why are you hiding it?" Um, I admitted to her that I was channeling, but I didn't call it channeling, and she said, "Why not?" So I had to sit with that for a while because I think I had some maybe some of my own self-consciousness around it, and maybe um, it's still not sometimes people don't consider it valid, a valid way of receiving information, and so I wonder if I even had to work through some of my own stuff around that. But once I just claimed it, I mean, it just opened everything up, and
Mhm.
I had even greater access. And I'm a better Reiki practitioner through the channeling because I'm not holding anything back, And it's also part of my daily life. So I channel for myself, and I learn so much. Um, yeah, and even when I'm doing EFT, which seems like it would have nothing to do with channeling, I'm receiving information, and it is guiding me. You could call it intuition, but it is guiding me in how to work with that particular client in that moment.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so many of us go through a journey of this, of, our gradual opening and acknowledging what it is we do and allowing it to flow more. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was a
do peop
great question. I'm so glad you asked that.
oh, you're welcome. So do people come to work with you for all kinds of different reasons? Are there particular themes?
There, yes and no. And some people are working with me really for very broad reasons. Something doesn't feel right in their life. They feel blocked. Um, they feel sad. They maybe are going through something, again, that's something that is very broad. But other times it is very specific. I've worked with people around addiction in a very, specific area of addiction, or trauma, and abuse, grief. Grief is another one. The thing is that we're all experiencing at some point in our life. We're all going to experience grief, and there are different types of trauma. And I would say at least most of us are going through different levels and sometimes multiple forms of trauma in our lives.
Mhm,
And some people are having those experiences, but may not be naming them. So they might be coming for um, something around life purpose. And then as we continue to work together, it turns out the core of it is grief, or the core of it is unresolved anger, and or even people not feeling like they're allowed to be angry about something, and really kind of digging into that. I do kind of list some specialties because I think it helps people, and but of course, really truly, I work with anyone for any reason, and
mhm,
everyone is welcome. But some of the big ones are life purpose, and path, even people's gifts. I have a lot of people coming to me right now who articulate that they want to know themselves better.
mhm,
And so the work, especially the channeling, really does bring a lot forth for that. Grief and trauma, transition and change. That's a big
mhm.
one. Um, Anxiety and stress relief. That's another big one.
Yeah, yeah. Great, great. Well, it's been lovely connecting with you. I'm excited for people to learn more about you and your work. If they want to find you online, where do they go?
The business name is Zen Shi Wellness. So that's a Zenshi wellness.com for the website, zenshewellness.com. And right now, so you can book private sessions through that. You can get in touch, and I would really encourage people to get in touch with me. I'm pretty friendly. I like to connect with people. Um, I also offer free consultations if people just want to kind of check me out, have a conversation. Sometimes people want to test out what it's like to have a session online. And
Mhm.
so I really encourage, let's have a 15-20 minute or whatever, consultation, and see how that goes for you. But I'm also going to be launching some classes that are going to start in the fall. I've been working on it this week to get it all together, to get it on my website. So within the next week or so, I expect at least the kind of framework and the timing of the workshops. Some of them are going to be shorter, couple, say 3 hours on a particular day, especially for people that really don't have the time for a longer course. But one of them that I'm developing is it's going to be around grief, and I'm looking at, again, I'm just trying to design it to make the most sense for the curriculum, but also for people's lives. So it could be 4 to 6 weeks. It's going to focus on grief and loss. I've gone through something of my own this year, and what I learned from that is I didn't have the resources available to me when I was going through it, and I'm still going through it, but not in the intense way I was earlier this year.
Yeah.
And so I'm developing a course around that, where people can get on an online course at a very affordable price and create a community around the grief and the
Mm,
grief healing. So people can look for that. Then hopefully, like I said, hopefully I'll have it up in the next week. And then of course the MeWe fair, which I'm so excited about, in just slightly over a week. I have a couple more June events I'll have up on my website, social media. I have a Facebook account for Zenchi Wellness. Um, yeah, and again, just reaching out would be wonderful. I'm just so excited to meet people.
great, great. Thank you so much. Excited for, yeah, so for you to reach more people to experience you. And for all of you
Thank you.
listening and watching, oh, you're so welcome, Heather. Yeah, and for all of you listening and watching, you can find out more about all of our events and how to connect with Heather at mewefairs.com, MEWEFAIRS.com.